All right, adjust this a bit. We are live here on the Batjack JW channel, so thanks for everybody that has been watching, subscribing to the channel and everything. So I know these live things that we do, it's been a lot of it's been spare of the moment, really just kind of like, oh hey, let's go live. Very few of them have been planned per se. So anyway, one thing that something I like to talk about is getting started for me, uh, building the collection that I started to build and everything. So early on, of course, being first gun I started to buy was like when it was a Smith and Wesson uh, model pre-model 10. I wanted originally. We got Ohio Trucker. Hi, Batjack. How you doing? Um, so I wanted the movie from the gun. I wanted the gun from the movie Witness with Harrison Ford. It was I found out later on it was a pre-model 10 Smith and Wesson, but that's really where I started. Was already starting to buy old school revolvers and stuff like that. I didn't know a whole lot early on going at it. I really didn't. I knew like I would just look it up and just kind of go, well, I guess that's what it is. I don't know, and just take the guy's word for it that was selling it to me. Um, Michael, how's it going, Michael? And my brother Santee over there. So, um, but I would just take the guy's word for it that was selling it to me and just say, Quint, never mind. But I would just take the fellow's word for it that, hey, he's being trying to be honest with me, I guess. And so, anyway, long story short, getting ripped off and overcharged many times just because I just was a guy that didn't know anything. So now I at least getting a little bit more knowledge by reading up on some stuff, purchasing some books. Uh, Ricky, how's it going? So I purchased some books, Smith and Wesson, like standard catalog of Smith and Wesson is a good one to keep yourself updated with. Standard catalogs, I think Gun Digest puts them out. It's like a big old Bible of a book to just have in your inventory, especially if you're gonna go hunting down some stuff, gun shows, gun shops. Like for me, a lot of it is just really like collectible stuff, and I know kind of what I'm going for. So at least if you go through those books, you'll find a base price to work with. You'll kind of know like, okay, if it's saying like $900 is the top price, at least you know kind of where you're at, where you're going to stand, where you're going to offer. So I wish I would have known a little bit more of that early on before getting ripped off. I remember stuff where I purchased revolvers and come to find out later on after I'm like, why is this trigger so like gritty and stiff? And it's like, oh, it popped the side plate off. It's full of rust. Uh, I didn't know that. I wouldn't have known that, and I mean, unless you're right there with the fella and you're like, hey, I want to take a screwdriver to this and take the side plate off, or at least take the grips off. Especially some of these older revolvers, you take the grips off. Um, Santee has asked me, but you haven't been ripped off very much. Well, looking back, I really could have been more knowledgeable on it and could have like said, hey, uh, offered less. Because the person that's selling it to you is usually the car salesman. They're not gonna. So, but popping the grips off if you can, depending on the situation, is a good is something the, to try to do because that will tell you if there's a lot of rust in there on the frame, what the internals could look like. How you doing, Rooster? So, something I would have definitely learned to do a little bit more before shelling out a few $100s more than what I should have in the cases. So, but the reason I'm bringing a lot of this up is for me, I like a lot of this old school stuff, and but the prices are getting to the point where they're pricing out the general public or the general like for me for sure like with financial wise I mean just some of this stuff is just getting out of control But I like the fact that, for instance, Smith and Wesson offers a classic line. There's stuff that you can buy from their classic line. I know some people are like, oh, but the key lock and the frame mounted firing pin, all that stuff. It you know, if it doesn't bother you, like me, it doesn't bother me. I I really don't. I really don't care. It just kind of is like, whatever. At least I can go and get a brand new one or whatnot. So that's cool. But you know, I've been looking at they got a Model 29 that's from the classic line that's actually really neat. Hey Edward, so uh, the classic line is like I got one. The 629 that I have is from the classic line. It's got the key lock and all that stuff. But you know what? It's really cool because the fact that you got a brand new, in a sense, a brand new Smith and Wesson revolver, and you got this, and it's that argument of min parts versus the old ways of doing it. And I got most of everything I got as far as Smith is the older stuff, but I have been wanting to check out that new Model 29, the classic. I think they call it a Dash 10 now. I can't believe they're up to that many changes with the thing. But it's kind of interesting because uh, even though like you can still buy some of the old vintage stuff for around the same price, but it's not brand new. That's the key word. That's the key thing is it's if it's brand new or not. Now I recently just realized this, and I did not know it. Thanks to the good old power of YouTube, you gotta love all that stuff. Yeah, go eat there, Santee. Go eat and make sure it's never mind. uh, but one thing that I really found interest in is they have the oatmeal. Sure, right. Quince Special, the House Special. Uh, they're remaking the I think it's the sauce, or I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but the sauce. Ohio Trucker says he started with 1884 Springfield trap door and restored it. That's cool. You enjoy too, Santi. But the sauce is making the high power, which is really cool. I'm excited about that. Well, they has been out for some time. I'm just a little late to the game of discovering it. So I think it's really cool because I used to have an FEG Hungarian one that used to be able to pick those up for a couple $100, but now not so much anymore. And a lot of them are really beat up. They look like they've been ran over by a truck. So you kind of got what you paid for. But the sauce or thesis or whatever, they're making them and they're brand spanking new. I believe they're Cerakoted. They're not like gorgeous bluing like the ones in Belgium or anything like that. But Browning has discontinued making them. And of course, when you got something like that happening, it's going to drive the prices up. And people that are selling them are going to get all excited because they're thinking they're going to sell one to somebody and make a house payment. But yeah, just I love the fact that these other companies are throwing these in the market. Now, for me, the whole idea of owning it really is nostalgia. It's just simply a range gun. It's something to take to the range and fire. The coolness of the high power itself. Now, Browning high powers are one of those things that were everybody made them. There was never really one company that made them. There was so many people making them and manufacturing them. So it really is hard to like say, well, what's what does it matter? It's not like it's not like you got a brand like a Colt, for instance, and there's just like it's a pretty big substantial difference between a Colt 1911 and just say like run of the mill arms corps or something like that. But the Browning high powers are kind of like the M1 carbines of the back in the day, where like there was not just one company that made them. I mean, heck, everybody got them. Everybody made those things. Uh, T says my favorite Smith I got from you, Mr. Batjack, is the little snub nose. That's a great that I I still don't have one of those now in my collection because that went to him. Is another great, basically an example of me selling some stuff to a friend and not raking them over the coals for it, and not like just trying to make like $1 million off of somebody, especially if they're your friend. and just don't do that. Good karma goes around. um, but that new high power, yeah, that's really cool that they got that in the market. Oh, we had a little glitch there. But as I was saying, the collectible Browning high powers, some of those that are like the T series, the C series, all that kind of stuff, the ring hammer, claw hammer, all that stuff, different types of them. And they're just going to the roof in prices to the point where I just like you get to the point where I mean unless you're just like you just got nothing better to do with your you just got tons and tons of money who cares. But for me, that's unfortunately not the case. I have very little money. So, uh, how do you, like, I just want to be able to take this thing to the range and shoot it, enjoy it, and if it gets a scratch on it and not freak out because this is a $1,300 gun. I just, the little scratch just took off $200 off its value. Yeah, all that. No, it's now I got this thing. It's, they're a dime a dozen. They're making them now and they're everywhere and you can get them and, so who cares if it gets a scratch on it? So, and if you sell it, you just sell it and take a little bit of a loss and some money. But hey, it's kind of like a renting fee, right? You get to try it out and play with it for a little bit, and you can always say, well, at least I had a couple $100 worth of fun with it and got some money back out of it, and now it's gone. But those things are really neat. I actually I'm like, wow, I kind of want to get one of those because I've always wanted one, and I did sell my FEG high power before I moved. And that's one I really wish I kind of would have kept. I'm like, yeah, I should have kept that one. Yeah, it was really nice. I really should have kept it. But the other thing was I was looking at doing things myself. As I just recently, the latest video I did up was the 1911 government model video, the disassembly of it and how it comes apart. It peaked over 1 million views, which is amazing, and that's I thank every one of you for doing that because it's because of you folks that it kind of got those kind of numbers out there. But I did that stuff. I do those videos to help people out, to kind of give that ability to say, hey, here's a video on it, this is how it works, and so maybe it'll help you out. Because that feeling of sitting at home, I remember I first got my first 1911, I was trying to change out the mainspring housing on it, and I goofed, and I didn't know how to put it back together. So I kind of sat there with this disassembled, cool toy that I got, and I just like, oh, great, now I've taken it apart, I don't know how it goes back together, what do I do? And I had to basically wait at the mercy on like a gunsmith that, was like when he had time to go do it. Rusty, greetings. So just kind of waiting for Squibload. I trust, what was that comment from he says, I trust my high power clone for home defense. Yeah, they're good. I mean, the clone I had was fantastic, but just that feeling of like going, man, I'm totally at a loss here. I'm at the mercy of a gunsmith or something. So when I learn stuff and how to take things apart, I start making videos and trying to help out other people with that, rather than like, oh, let's keep this knowledge to ourselves because we can sell it to somebody. Well, I put it out there for free, so now somebody can just look it up in a video and do it at home. And a lot of this stuff, that's what's cool about the modern guns. I mean, it's like not many people, I think, like for instance, just using it as a kind of a cover all bases, a Glock. I mean, everybody knows how to take those things apart. It's like Legos. Hardly anybody's really going to go to a gunsmith, Glocksmith, and say, hey, can you change out this, can you change out the recoil spring on it or something like that for me or whatnot. I think so much of this stuff doesn't really require to be, hand fitted much anymore. Even though I've learned some hand fitting with 1911s just to kind of help secure my own stuff. But I recently had this experience where I was out here, of all places. I wanted to get a revolver reblued. I thought, well, it would look really cool if I could get it stripped down and reblued and looking all nice again and all that stuff. Let's see, that's why I follow guys like you and Santee. Thank you, appreciate you following us. But I was I was thinking about getting this revolver re-blued and hot blued actually. And after calling multiple shops out here, supposedly in the land of guns, well, what I ran into was a bunch of flakes, really. People that either didn't answer their phone, could care less about returning your call after leaving a messages, or just people that wanted you to come to them or chase them down so you can give them money for a service. And I thought about that and I went, that doesn't make any sense to me. If you're in business or you're in service, and wouldn't you want to get as much business as you can under your belt? But maybe they have so much business pouring in that they just have found a way to just develop this snobby attitude and to say, "Oh, the heck with that guy because I got so much business." Oh well, maybe that might change one day. But what basically drew me doing was I'm like, you know what? I started looking it up on YouTube. I started saying, well, how hard is hot bluing? And I started looking it up, and it's like, yeah, you can strip the. I watched a guy. He has a video. He's absolutely crazy. He stripped the bluing off of his stuff with vinegar and alcohol, or no, water and vinegar, and then he stripped all the bluing off of it. Took a frying pan or a pot, started heating it up on a burner outside, and threw stump remover into it, like stump remover powder. Melted that down until it was like liquid, and then he blued his gun with it. Crazy. The outcome was like, well, it's pretty good. That's not bad at all. How did he? So just the stuff can be done. It really can be done. You just don't. And that's really cool to see people doing that. But in the end, I just kind of like with the adventure of me trying to get this gun re-blued, I kind of gave up on it. I'm like, I'm not gonna track somebody down to give them like $300 and of my money just to do that. Instant cold bluing is super easy. Yes, it is. I've done it many times. In fact, use that product 4440, 44-40, whatever it is. I've done cold bluing myself. Works great. I've actually got into spray painting stuff. I mean, you just spray paint the thing. That came from me just thinking, going to a guy and asking him prices on Cerakoting for a 1911, and when he quoted me stuff like he said, it's going to be like $300 to get the slide, the frame, and the small parts and everything. I started really thinking about it, and I was like, what killed it was he was showing the catalog to me, and he said, "Oh, I got a worn look, and he sandpapers the paint off. Basically, that's what it is. It's just a fancy paint, and it will look like it's a worn piece." And I'm like, so it just comes off with sandpaper. But I got to thinking about it. I said, "The heck with this! I didn't want to invest any more in the gun already. I had already was into it for like $700 almost. I think it's high six somethings in the neighborhood. I was into it, so I really didn't want to pursue any more money into it. So what happened was, I just went to Walmart and bought a $3 can of spray paint and spray painted the thing. Spray paint holds up well, better than so. That's the route I went to, and I actually started thinking, wow, this is actually not bad. I'll continue doing it. In fact, let me get it right here. I spray painted my Glock because, one, it's a Glock. Sorry, Glock fans, I'm just not trying to trash them, but they're they're a dime a dozen. But I thought it was really cool because I thought, you know what? And it's really subtle. I don't even know if you'll see it in this. You probably won't. But I actually painted the frame gray, a dark gray, because I got the idea from Larry Vickers. He's been promoting a lot of the stuff from Wilson Combat, and they've been doing some of these special runs of 1911s and whatnot. And Vickers has an elite 1911 or something like that. I thought it was the sharpest looking thing because the frame was like dark gray, and the slide obviously was like a flat black. I thought that was super cool. I was like, wow, that's actually not bad. That's a good color combo. And I'm not one to like dive into the color combo thing, but I said, what the heck? By then I had already spray painted a 1911 anyway, so I spray painted the frame of this thing gray. Of course, I removed all the parts first just to make it a little bit more sharper. And then what I actually also just for giggles, I wound up painting the barrel. I know some people are going, okay, now I'm unsubscribing. This guy's crazy. But I painted the barrel gray too. And you can see as I've fired it quite some, and the paint holds up fairly well. It does not wear off as easy as you think. Now, if you ever wanted to change this thing back and you didn't want the color anymore, you just basically douse it in some acetone, or you can just go to the market and get some fingernail polish remover. It's fairly cheap, and just kind of sit there with a glove up, some good chemical gloves or something like that, and a nice little abrasive nylon or copper brush, and you can remove all this stuff. It'll take a little bit of time, but what about using automotive grade engine paint or desperate caliper paint? Disc brake caliper. Well, I mean, for me, the spray paint's held up fairly well. I'm sure there's other types of grades of paint that you could use that would hold up really, really well. In fact, like this one here, I use it for work, and yeah, Dan talked to text. I know that one very well. But this is my work gun, and I carry it at work all the time and constantly use it, and it really has not worn off. And when I was removing some spray paint off of another 1911 I did, the same color scheme, gray and black, it was I was actually surprised how well it did actually held, because it did take a little bit of effort to remove it. It did. I was nerded. Now I gotta admit, I thought it would have been a little bit easier than it was, but with a little bit of effort, with a nice, a nice abrasive brush, not steel brush or anything like that. I didn't want to ruin the original finish. Now I've not sanded or nothing like that. I just degreased them and painted them. I did not sand the original finish at all because I didn't want to damage what I had. Let me go back and read these comments that I missed here. Todd, which Italian clones do you prefer for Colt single action army? Recently purchased the Pieta EMF, Great Western, and the Hammer. The stuff for single action clones that we use, the Santee over there, the Ghost Riders, and all the stuff we see us using in the stuff we do for the Wild West, are Cimarron imported stuff. They're obviously made in Italy by, like, I think mine's a Pieta something rather. The reason I like them, I myself like them, is because they're true to the old Colt single actions. They're true to the style. There's no transfer bar. There's no like additional weird safeties that they've altered to appease lawyers or anything like that. They're very traditional. You take the guts out of them, they're exactly the way Sam Colt would have done it and everything. So that's what we use. The Cimarrons or like the Ubertis or something like that. That's mostly what everybody uses. Now I know some people like the Rugers, which are aesthetically really nice, but internally they're so different. And I like the traditional half cock loading gate. Click click click. That's how how you load them up and everything. Most of the Cimarrons are Uberti made. Yes, they are. For some reason, there's so many different. Cimarron is just the importer. That everybody thinks that they're different. Which I actually had a really bad experience with Cimarron's customer service, but they are just the importer. Their customer service, from my experience, was not good. Neither was Glock's. So, but where were we, right? But anyhow, there's so many ways now to do things ourselves at home without the need of a specialist or somebody like, a specialty thing that's going to charge us up a lot of money to do it. And I think it's really cool that we're able to do that. My Smith & Wesson 29 here, when I got it originally, this is the very first one I got, was this one here. I actually wanted to replace some parts on it and everything. And when I called Smith and everything, and they gave me a price quote, and it really would have wound up being like, wow, at that price, because I paid like $400 for this thing, I said I should have just bought one that was in a lot better shape. Not saying this is a trashed up one or anything like that. It's just that definitely seen some heavy use. So I wound up doing it myself after hearing their quote, but I bought the parts off of Brownells and wound up replacing the lockup and everything on it, and then redoing the timing myself after learning more about how to do it. And it wound up just being, pretty much top shape. And yeah, Rusty says learn most of his gunsmithing from YouTube, and that's why, like, I learned a lot of stuff from YouTube myself, and that's why I wanted to contribute back to it and make the videos I did on disassembling stuff, reassembling things, because it's such a helpful tool now, and not just with guns. I mean everything you can think of is practically on there. You can figure out how to hook something up, diagnose something with your car, or anything like that, which is great that we got more people in a sense of self-help rather than being sitting there going, oh, I don't know what to do, I guess I'll sit here and not. Same thing with the knives. I love these old school push button knives. I really do. The switchblades are awesome, but the legit Italian made ones, they are commanding some high dollar prices for some of these. But I found that if you go onto the websites and get them off of in China that are pretty much rip-off copies of them, and they cost about like 10, 20 bucks, and they work really well. And for film's sake, for a lot of the film stuff, the cheaper ones actually appear better on camera. They have a better snap on camera than the like legit $300 ones. For some reason the cheaper ones, just I guess the steel, because the steel's a lot like lighter or whatever, but they just really have a better pop on camera for when we're using them. And if the actors drop them or whatnot, or we're doing a skit and they kind of get dropped or fumbled, it's not a big deal. It's just a $10, $20 knife, and not like a $300 knife. Oh my gosh, what do we do? So, but yeah, and also, I don't know if anybody knows, I don't think I've seen one yet, but Walther is now making PPKs again. Yes, that is so cool. They actually do have the legit PPK and the PPKS. The PPKS with the slimmer grip, and I think it's slightly longer, but they also have now the original PPK. It's kind of a shorter grip, and I think but it's only 6 rounds, but who cares? I mean, James Bond, that's all that matters, right? But I think it's so cool that those are now having a resurgence back on the market. Walther's making them again. That is so awesome, because I have one, but it's not a legitimate Walther. It's Walther had to get them licensed by somebody else to make them. Smith and Wesson was making them for a while. Mine is it's a Inter Arms, I think, the one that I have. But it's super cool because it's just, all my life I've always wanted one. When I was a kid, I had a little plastic BB gun looking thing that was a PPK, and I used the heck out of it. And in fact, I used it so much it broke, and that was a very sad day. But it's so cool to see those are coming back on the market. So there again, it just opens up more doors for us as people that want to buy and check out stuff like that, to be able to get a hold of them and get our hands on them without paying like some just like crazy prices. And that's why another thing, about the CMP and having their 1911s, that is just great. I hope the market is flooded, and I know we have to be patient, and I know that there's a lot of like hold up with them and everything like that. And it just I think just we'll give it some time, be patient, and they'll make their way on the market, and it will definitely affect the prices so that we can buy them for actual realistic price instead of somebody's like completely out of the world prices. Did I get my CMP 1911 yet? No, I did not. But I think if, like I said, if you just be patient enough with them, I think they're going to flood onto the market, and at least even then it'll hopefully start to affect and drop some of the prices on some of the ones that you see in gun shows and whatnot, that people are just still holding on to that idea that they can get all this money for. I actually was just recently, within the last few months, I was at a gun show, and I just wanted to kind of see what I just sometimes I'm just curious, the curious cat. But he had a table full of 1911s. I think he had like an Ithaca, a Remington Rand, and a Colt. So I kind of was curious what a seller was thinking about. Um, did you purchase one, or are you still waiting? I'm just gonna wait around. I did not put my name in the lottery or anything like that. I'm just gonna wait around and see how they shake out. But so I'm at this gun show and I see this guy has a whole table full of them, like 3 or 4 of them or whatnot. So I asked him. I said I was just kind of curious to see what a seller. How is he going to pitch this to me? That why I should buy one of his. And I said, I said to him, I said, what's the difference between what you got? Because now mind you, he wanted like $3,000 for these things, 2,500 to $3,000. So I said, "What's the difference? What you got here versus what the CMP's got? You know, I mean, I think you can get one from the CMP for like $8,000. Something like that, $800 to $1,000. I think you can get a pretty decent one. Is what their prices were, something like that. But and he said, oh well, what you're getting from the CMP is all mixed matched and non-original. I said, really? I said, so like what parts are? What do you mean? And he says, well, you don't know what slide to frame you're getting. I said, oh, okay. I said, so tell me about the Colt that you have here. He says, oh, well, with the Colt here, he starts telling me all that. But then I said, well, the sights on the Colt look a little different than the one over here. And he says, oh, yeah, somebody put different sights on this one. And I'm like, oh, okay. So now you're telling me the one you're selling for $2,500 not original. Then I noticed on the frame it was stamped like something else. I think it was uh, like it was stamped. The abbreviation stood for Phoenix Police Department, PPD. And I said, what's the stamping? I said, is that like aftermarket or does somebody do that? He says, yeah, it belonged to the Phoenix Police Department. So basically, where his story started for me to try to sell me on a $2,500 gun was versus the CMP was what he had was all original, and what the CMP was selling was not going to be original. But yet he's sitting there telling me that somebody changed the sights out on this. They stamped the frame, Phoenix Police Department. So it's like, okay, well, this thing has been totally altered. So it's in a collector's market. It's not worth what you think you're attempting to get for it. Which is, it's like, so you gotta be careful of this stuff, and then knowing the proper, what inspector mark is on the frame to the slide maker and all that, and then what you're getting. But it's just, that's where I'm like at with the CMP. I'm gonna wait and see what happens, because it's like the M1 Garands where they're all over the place. You can always go to a shop and get one. They're not going to be running too expensive. I mean, not like how they probably would be if you couldn't get them from the CMP, but $1,000 or less. I mean, depends on where you find it, and hopefully it's in decent shape. So, but that's where I'm hoping a lot of this stuff is going. Starting with look at the Smith and Wesson. You can get a classic. They're adding more and more classic revolvers to the classic line, which is awesome. And then you look over and it's like, okay, so the Browning high powers now, Thesis or Thesis or whatever, they're making them. You know, Walther remaking PPKs and stuff like that. So it's really cool because it's opening up this market for a lot of us to get stuff like that without. I mean, I've seen Walther PPKs, literally legit PPKs, in some of these shops. They want like $3,000-$4,000 for them, and it's like, wow, it's not that great of a gun. I mean, the romance for me is just simply the James Bond factor of it all. But well, I mean, it's just how it is. If you got the money, go for it, But for somebody like me, I'm just trying to get by and check it out for an affordable price. So it's gonna be, but. I've been I had a lot of questions on these, and the question was, how did I get so many of these vintage magazines that I was using for my Throwback Thursday stuff? Check that out. Look at that. Got the Duke. You got a really good shot of his grips. Those are really nice grips. Where'd I get all these old magazines? And at where I work, there was a fellow that actually dropped off like a ton of these, a bunch. Wow, 2,500. I only have one Colt. It's a 1911, but it's the World War II commemorative for the surrender of Japan. That's cool. A lot of those, I have the Colt World War I like reproduction pistol, I guess they call it. I seen those like go for like just as much as you would buy a real one for, and you're kind of like, well, okay. Mr. Holster, hey, he says, any snow down there? No, there was 1 day of snow. 1 day in February, I think it was, that it actually did snow in this town, which everybody that is native here have been like, hey, that's never happened. So that's cool. But no, these old magazines, this guy dropped off like 14 stacks of these things, and they were lingering around for a while. People were taking them and whatnot. So now we've actually a lot of them are dwindling out. Loads of Bacon, hey, evening, and Loads of Bacon is another great channel that I it's more power to them that you've been doing a lot of the loading and stuff like that and showing that, and yeah, again, another informative channel with stuff that's out there that we all try to keep going with. But that's how I wound up getting so many of these for doing that. I thought they were really cool because it was such a cool throwback. I mean, this one's from September '81. I guess not too far back. Like, I mean, I had one that was from the 1960s. It was awesome. But look at this, $1.75 for this. Really cool. I had to keep this one because it had the. Sometimes it's the connection's been going off and on, so I'm trying to read all the comments here. And so 10,000 fists, yo, my man. What's up? And I meant to ask you, Mr. Holster, how's your spray painted shockwaves holding up? And I actually, sadly, I sold mine. I had a Remington hardwood TAC 14 or whatnot. I actually sold mine. For me, I sold it because I really didn't have much use for it. Just fine. Say, Mr. Holster, I know you're just tuning in. I spray painted the lower of my Glock, by the way. But I sold my TAC 14. I did sell it because it was like it mostly sat in the closet and did nothing really. So it kind of got to me. I was like, you know what? I'm thinking about buying some cool stuff, some new stuff that's out. So I'm gonna, I guess, get rid of some of the stuff that I'm not gonna be, using. Nothing much. Just wanted to say hi, and I've been a fan of yours for a long time. I thank you. I appreciate that. Who paints a gun? I don't know. Who does, Mr. Holster? Did Jack do it? I know. But okay, well, I was too cheap and I didn't want to pay somebody to Cerakote something, so I just spray painted it for a lot less money, and it holds up really well. I mean, actually, I think people they underestimate how well spray paint holds up. I even did a magazine, one of the mags for it, but it broke. Yes, I broke a Glock mag. It wasn't working anymore, and then I think it busted the follower on it. I could probably buy another follower and put it all together. But I was going to buy some cold bluing from Brownells, the T4, I think it's called, the T4. It's because I tried the 4440. You can Cerakote yourself pretty easy and just cure it in your oven. Yeah, I actually looked into that. I really I know that Brownells sells the rattle cans of that stuff. You can just bake it in your oven. It's awesome. That spray paint, I love the way it wears sometimes when it does wear. I mean, even this one's been going in and out of the holster so much, but barely any wearing on it. But it's pretty cool. I'm just cheap and fast. As my friend used to say back home. Good old Scotty, cheap and fast. But because he was a carpenter, he used to hear that a lot. Oh man, just make it cheap and fast. And his comeback to that was, will it last? The paste bluing works fairly well. I have tried the paste bluing. I have. A friend of mine told me about the T4 Brownells bluing. He said it's actually really dark. It comes out really, really dark. So I was going to give that a shot and try it. But you know what? I went to order it from Brownells. And, okay, so you were talking a little bottle, like an airplane liquor bottle size. And they want $10 to ship that thing. And I just couldn't do it right now. I just like $10 to ship that. Wow. I think I'll hold off and see if I find it in a local gun shop somewhere. But I did use the 4440 bluing on. Oh, it wasn't this one. I didn't use it. I used it on the PPK I got because it had some wear spots on it. I used it on that. Held up pretty well. It because it was worn right there on the back strap, like so right where you grab it all the time. It did kind of wear off a little bit. So I was kind of maybe I was gonna try that T4 bluing on it, but like I was watching, like I said earlier, I was watching this YouTube video, and this guy literally hot blued his gun with stump remover. got to catch them when they're having the free shipping with no minimum. Oh, well that's the only bluing I've used is the Birchwood Casey. I've used that. The Birchwood Casey stuff does work really well. I think it's either the super blue or the perma blue, one of the two. I think it's the super blue. It works fine. It's great stuff. You just degrease it really well, and then I used to heat up the metal a little bit with a hair dryer, like just a little, like warm to the touch, and then apply the bluing. Then somebody told me to apply it with steel wool. I don't know what the point of that was, but they said, if you saturate steel wool with it, apply it with the steel wool. I tried it, that versus like Q-tips or rags or whatever. I don't know. It also just seems to be the same. Do you own any old rifles or just revolvers? By Todd. I do own some rifles. Currently, I have an M1 Garand that I still have that I actually thought about selling because I've mostly just been lugging it around just because of its cool factor, but it is a big rifle. But I thought maybe it's worth hanging on to. And I used to have a couple of Rossi pump action 22s, the copy of the gallery gun. I gave one to a friend of mine out here, and I still have one for myself, which is a really cool rifle. I love taking it out to just, the open land somewhere and shooting like little CB shorts or something like that in them. They're a lot of fun, so I do like that. And I did wind up getting rid of most of my shotguns. The only one I still kept is the high standard Riot King or something like that. The reason I kept it is because that's the one from the movie The Getaway with Steve McQueen in 1972. That's such a cool movie, and I always wanted that shotgun, so it's a great. Yeah, the Winchester Defender is gone, and I think my buddy still has my Winchester 97, which I kept for the cowboy action stuff, doing that out here. We could always load it up with blanks and do a show with it or whatnot. But he, my friend Dirty Dan, he's got a nice little prop and wardrobe company he started to do stuff with. So we use a lot of those guns as props and things like that, blanks and everything, and blanks and stuff. So Mr. Holster says Brownells does that once every 2 or 3 weeks or so. See any clean old Interarms 92s in 357? No, have not seen those. 10,000 Fists says, okay, everyone, if a company could replica any gun, what would it be? If a company could replica any gun, what would it be? Oh, okay, so if a company could reproduce a gun and make a replica of it, mine would be the Colt Python. And then make them so that they're not an atrocious amount of money. So that it would put an end, sort of say, to this like ridiculous amount of money that those things are commanding. And maybe make them better. I'll stick with my Smith & Wessons on that one. But no, it'd be cool if some company would actually remake the Python and the Diamondback and some of those. That would be really cool. Maybe Colt is actually heading that way. I don't know, what they're going to be charging for them. I know they did the King Cobra, and the Cobra is out now, so that's kind of cool. LOL, sorry, my hand slipped. But no, I think it's cool. I like it's neat to see like you said, again, I'm pumped because I literally just found out about it, even though it's been kind of news for a long time that the sauce they're making the high power. I think that's really cool. The real Cobra burnout. I heard Cobra, so I showed up. How's it going, real Cobra burnout? Welcome to the snake pit. Um, but yeah, Cobra, we were talking about companies that have been reproducing cool guns, like the um, the sauce or whatever. They reproduce the Browning high power, and that's really cool because now you can get like a Browning high power for under like $500, rather than some of those other ones that people are trying to, like I said, pay their car off with it with their prices. Let's see. Todd, I own the Sauce BR9 in stainless steel. Love it. Oh, cool. We got somebody here in the room that actually has one. That's really cool. I've been wanting the blued one. I just, Todd, I just found out about him. I've been so behind in the game. I just haven't been keeping up with so much stuff, but I think it's so cool. I really want the blued one. I know they're like Cerakoted, I think, but I really want the blued one. The only thing now, if I got one complaint just by checking them out for the very first time, if I got one complaint, that complaint would be the rear sight. The rear sight does not look correct. Let's see. Those older 29s and Pythons from Smith & Wesson are big bucks here in New Jersey. I'm guessing that's what you're talking about. I swapped out the springs per Browning High Power Spring Solutions. Check out the videos on YouTube. Awesome. Yeah. I was thinking about if I did get it, I probably would tap out that rear sight and put like some of the old school, I guess they kind of looked almost like the old school 1911 sights, just because that's the whole point for me but other than that, I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. I could totally live with it. But yeah, I gotta say, I'm kind of interested in getting one. The sauce barrel is interchangeable with the old Brownings. Wow, that's even cooler. Do they still allow guns in New Jersey? Came from Edward Petty. That is so true. The sights are proprietary to the sauce. One of the downsides of the pistol. Oh, well, okay. Well, good to know. Thank you. Like I said, I can live with it. It's not that bad. But it is cool to see the full-on high power backing around, and yeah, just that's really cool because I know they quit making them. Browning stopped making them, and I remember seeing some of the prices that people wanted for the other ones, the Belgian-made ones. It was like, oh my gosh, you can't install Novaks in the sauce. What is the sights like on the rear sight on that one, Todd? They kind of look like almost like those modern type 1911 sights that they were doing. It's got kind of the wedge or something. I'm not sure. I live in Rhode Island. It's north of the wall. Toughest gun laws in the country, but yes, Ed, there's still outlaws in New Jersey. Are you gonna do any more filming with Santee and the Ghost Riders by White Owl? Yes, I do. The problem is our schedules don't line up. That's been the biggest issue with a lot of the film production and myself mostly with Santee and them guys, because our work schedules don't line up. I have to work the hours that I work, and of course when I'm doing that, that's when he's free per se. Go figure, right? So, but yes, absolutely. That's the only reason why I haven't been more actively involved. I've been trying to hit up with him. We usually try to get together and then film a bunch of segments and get ideas and stuff like that, literally, and try to roll them in there throughout time and get those rolling in there. Todd, it's a funky rear sight that is unique to the sauce, that is not interchangeable with anything. Unfortunately, I hear the sauce may fix that and make it compatible with aftermarket stuff. It would be nice if they did. And I know Edward, yeah, you are from New Jersey there. I had to get the stainless version since it never existed before. That's true. That is very true. The stainless version didn't exist. It was a nickel plated, the one that I saw, but it was not a shiny nickeling. It was a matte nickeling. The one that I saw years ago. I I I had a chance to buy Browning Belgium made one. It was that beautiful bluing and everything like that. And I had a chance to buy one of those like 8 years ago, and I never did. Um, as in little to no guns, so I'm behind the line. Brushed stainless. So I have it's kind of a goofy joke. I have a steel airsoft gun that's a Browning high power copy looking thing, and it's nickel plated. It's really cool because it's really shiny and it's kind of got that awesome factor. But you charge it up with uh, green gas. I don't have any green, but it shoots these. It's really cool. I got this little target thing set up sometimes that you just kind of go and destroy stuff. It makes it fun. Then you don't have to worry about cleaning stuff and lead and all that. But anyway, yeah, I have been thinking about that high power. I really have been. If you can still find Israeli police turn in high powers for around $500. Yeah, I had a Hungarian one. The Airsoft replicas are fun to play with. Well, of course, the Cobra's been playing with them. Cobra, I can't help but think every time you do one of those unboxing videos, something from Bud K or something, I just have this image of you running to the snake pit. Hopefully, the wife doesn't see you. I don't know why. I just get this this image of him sneaking down there with this big box. He's always. I'm one of those guys, viewers, that lives vicariously through Mr. Real Cobra Burnout there because he's always unboxing stuff. It's just as fun. It's a true image. I knew it. If anybody here is not subscribed to the Real Cobra Burnout, please go and subscribe to the Real Cobra Burnout. And Mr. Holster, of course, obviously, check him out. And Loads of Bacon is a great reloading channel and all that. So, and that's what the thing is cool about our community is we've all become such good friends without actually meeting anybody face to face, just through our YouTube channels. Rusty says, if you ever get to New Jersey, I'd be more happy to take you to our new indoor club. Oh, 30 lanes. That's cool. 30 lanes in that. That's pretty cool. That's a lot of lanes. The ones out here, they have the indoor one is 12 at the most, I think. It's a really small one. But I don't know. The Hungarian FEGs are not true high powers. The Israelis used real Belgian-made high powers. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I knew the FEGs were kind of just the knockoffs, and they were kind of funky. Some of them are goofy. Union Hill Gun Club. Okay. But yeah, I know the FEGs had some real funky ones. The one I had was it was built like the true, I guess the original looking one. But they had some ones that were really goofball ones. I think double action ones or something like that. I know that. But yeah, definitely kind of away from the traditional stuff. But yeah, I did see one. There was it was an FN in the shop, but it was a Parkerized finish, so it was kind of like a green, kind of matte green color. I almost bought it, but I was like, yeah, I don't need it. If I bought one, I want that shiny blue. I wasn't sure how well the blue job looked on the blackened high power by Thesis or Thesis. I think it's Cerakoted. If I heard one guy talking about it in a video, I think he said it's Cerakoted. I don't think it's actually blued or anything. I think it's just Cerakoted. I don't know. It looked all right to me. I mean, it looked all right for a range gun. Take it to the range, have fun with it, and do all that stuff with it. Now, kind of like my Glock that I bought strictly just for a job. It's the 34, so you can see that monster slide on it. But it does the job for my work. I actually been wanting to replace the sights. I was going to get the different sights on it. You can see those sights. They're not the greatest, obviously. There's the stock lock stuff. This one's a little bit of an adjustable. You can take it, but I've never really adjusted it at all. I was going to get the big dot sights by Excess big dot sights, I think they're called. They're like $100 off of Midway, so I think I might go ahead and get those. Todd, I bought a beat up Brownie high power for cheap, and then I had it Cerakoted in blued steel. Looks brand new. Cool. Rusty says, "What do you do for a living?" I work in a gun shop. So, but this, now one thing I did with mine, my Glock 34, is the recoil spring I put in it is a Glock 22 recoil spring, so it's a little heavier than the 9mm. That's to help reduce the recoil, to help it, so I can be a little bit more accurate with it, because I'm not a very good shot. So I try to use every edge I can. And one thing I was concerned with, I was like, man, am I going to induce a failure, some sort of malfunction, like a failure, like a stovepipe or something like that, which I have not. And I've ran some really low power 9 that I reloaded myself in it just to test it out, but I have not induced a failure at all. And of course, I've got some really bad pain in my wrist, though. It's just it's been helping in trying to reduce the recoil. I was recently just shooting a 45 again. It was like, wow, that was a little sore for me. Get the combo fiber optics tritium sights from TrueGlow. I might try those. The reason I'm looking at the big dot Excess dot is because once a month for the job we have to we have to run a qual course, and the qual sucks. It for some reason it's a lot more difficult than like the standard police department out here, or the Department of Public Safety, or anything like that. It's a lot harder. Why, I don't know. And so a lot of it is like like 2 rounds, 2 seconds at various distances and stuff. So I've been trying to get, because you got to acquire the sights quick. So when you bring them up, and I'm just like really bad eyesight trying to get it, because a lot of it is really, you're almost instinctively shooting at that point. So the Excess big dot sights, again, will help me find that front sight. It's a lot bigger than what's on there, like that. And let's see, he says, Trump's economy has me working 60+ hours weeks. Nice. I mean, it's nice that the economy is thriving and everybody's got work, and well, at least the lazy people are just choosing to be lazy. But at least the jobs are out there now. Unfortunately, I'm on salary, so I am always there for more hours than I am getting paid for. At least I try not to be. So when I can sneak out early, I will. Just worry about the front sight. Yep, that's right. That's what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm going to put those Excess big dot sights on there so I can see, because I'm not being able to see some of the smaller sights. It's making it difficult to see them. I don't know. My mom says it's part of getting older. I said I don't think so, but I'm sure that's what it is. I'm glad I'm not afraid to be lazy. Oh, don't worry, I'm plenty lazy myself. This weekend I pretty much laid around and did nothing. I pretty much stayed around, and the biggest mistake I think I made was I got Amazon Prime, and I'm such an analog person that I got Amazon Prime for the free 2-day shipping, so when I can order my vinyl records and stuff, they come really right away so I can play them. But I also found out that you can get on there and watch a bunch of free movies. So and they change every like day. There's a new movie up there. So I'm just like in I must have watched that one like 50 times. So that's what I've been doing. Brewster says, I wasn't born just to work, though. Being lazy is good sometimes too. Yes, it is. As much as I work, I tell you, I have no problem with coming home and kicking up the feet and taking a drink of scotch or something and just watch the TV. But usually winds up with lemonade and a really terrible dinner. And but actually, I wanted to get a better dinner tonight. Yes, better. Oh boy, the dogs are something is going on. Dogs have found something, maybe a rattlesnake. But I haven't actually kept up with. It says I canceled my Amazon Prime account. They still charged me the monthly fee. Had to get a new bank card. Yeah, I, that was what I was afraid of, like to have to do that. What does Scotch taste like? Um, it's a little bit different than whiskey or bourbon, Kentucky straight bourbon. The Scotch that I recall that I really liked was Glenfiddich, I think it was. That's really good stuff. It's a green bottle, and it does have its own unique flavor. It's definitely not like the whiskey that you get like Kentucky straight bourbon or something. Let's see here. So there's Todd, where do you live? I live in Arizona. That's where I live right now, as of right now. I miss the snow. That's the unfortunate part about living out here. Scotch is better than straight whiskey. Scotch is good stuff. I think Chivas Regal is Scotch too. I've had that once. But no, I don't drink a lot. I really don't. I've had like I think the last time I had a shot or something might have been with Santee. I think we had a shot for some sort of thing. I don't know. I think we were at like old Tucson or something. So, which Santee has not returned. He said he was going to return. He was going to go eat, and then he didn't return. That's typical of Santee, this Arizona Ghost Riders. Yeah, I remember he talked to me back when he was thinking about doing this YouTube bit. I remember he said, "Hey, Batjack, should I do YouTube?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. Everybody should. It's a good way to meet good people." And so I remember he did his first episode, or no, his first stuff actually originally was some videos around town because I was thinking about moving out here. And so he showed me he did some videos and everything, and it was really goofy stuff. I don't think the videos are on there anymore, but there was one where he was around and he said, "Oh, this is the town and everything," and then he was coming in. He went into the grocery store or something. He was going to get donuts, and he had to turn the camera towards himself, and he was wearing sunglasses, and he took his sunglasses off. He goes, "Oh, there's my eyes," in case you're wondering. And he puts them back on. It was the goofiest video ever, and it was hilarious stuff. But Santee is a really good guy. He's really really fun to hang out with, really fun to film stuff with. He's a really good sport at taking the brunt of the jokes. We definitely pick on each other when we're filming those things for sure, and get us all together at once. It's definitely a riot. But he's a good guy, good sport. So we have a lot of fun doing that stuff, and we do meet a lot of you folks out there, out and about. I definitely been around in like old Tucson and met some fans and people that have been out there, subscribers, viewers, watchers, everybody watching the stuff. So I really appreciate that. Actually, because if you ever see us around town, me, Santee, or Dirty Dan, or whatever, say hi. Absolutely, please say hi. Warsaw Patriot, yo, hey man, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a little bit. Been on your stream since last December. Yeah, shoot, when did we do it last? Yeah, it's been a while since we did a live stream. We haven't done live stream for a bit. I know with videos wise, I need to get a new camera is what I need to do for the next couple of videos here. Just need to get a new camera. We have been talking for a month or so now. Santee has nothing but good stuff to say about you. Oh, good. He's full of lies. What was the temperature down there today? Today has been actually lately, Mr. Holster's been nice. It's been nice out. Hasn't been terribly hot yet. Of course, at the end of May it will be. Um, Good night, 10,000 fists. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. But no, I'm kind of uh, I'm interested. By the way, man, I shot a pistol at the range and found some interesting. Uh, the Taurus PT 92 FS. Oh, that's a cool. Yeah, the Taurus 92 is really nice. It's a Brazilian copy of the Beretta 92. It's actually, I think, it's a better design on the safety on those. But I like the weather better where you're at, Mr. Holster. I think it's a lot. I like the snow and the cold. But I think, well, when I lived in Colorado, I remember it kind of got old, but I like it though. I went to Arizona State and remember those 113-degree days. Yep. Oh yeah, they're coming. They're coming. It gets miserably hot, but that's why you got to stay indoors and crank up the AC. And luckily, you know, you just have an inside work job, not outside digging ditches or something like that. But it's a dry heat, so it's a little. I guess it's a little different. I don't know. Unlike other places where it's humidity and whatnot. So, well, guys, I appreciate everybody hanging out. I'm gonna be signing off here. Again, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for thumbing up the stream here. I couldn't do my job in Arizona summer heat. No, if you work outside, no way. I sometimes see those guys working like outside doing construction. I'm like, man, that's crazy. By the way, I hear your state is having an issue on the second A. You know what? I mean, everybody is. I think it's just been insane. Yeah, Hawaii is doing. You know, back home they're doing some really weird stuff. Thank you, Cobra. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks for coming out. But yeah, I know they want to take away our hobbies and stuff like that. But yeah, they won't get away with a lot. I think it's hot. It's hot air anyway. Need to get you boys out to the Wild West City. Yeah, political BS is right. All right, good night, Mr. Holster. And again, appreciate everybody. If you see us in public or whatever, you know, myself, Santee, feel free to say hi. Please do. I met a lot of you, and it's really cool to actually meet you guys out there. So appreciate it. All right, y'all. Take it easy and still hang out with the channel, and we'll keep going here. Keep doing live streams, man. Love your content. Thank you, Mr. Warstar there. Take care, Bat Jack, and thank you, Edward. All right, guys. Catch you later.